It's not heavy and it covers like a dream. Especially with women like you. Hey boo, welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time here, my name is KiKi Carr. I am a makeup artist and licensed esthetician, which means the beauty advice that you get on this channel is professional advice. So in today's video, I thought we would do a simple everyday makeup look for beginners, because if you are a returning viewer, you already know that I can go from 0 to 100, okay? So I figured I would just sit down and show you what I do on a normal, everyday basis. It's just like a regular person, not as the makeup artist, not as the esthetician, but just as a woman who wants to put herself together before she goes out into the world. So if you are a beginner girl, I know that you'll be able to do this, because this is just so simple and so easy. Okay, so let's get started. I had skincare on earlier, so I'm just going to go in with my Avo Cosmetics Botanical Toner. This is going to refresh my skin and hydrate it and plump it right before makeup, which is what we absolutely want. Next, I'm going to go in with my City Beauty Lid Lifting Treatment. Now, I know a lot of ladies, they don't want a lot of steps. They don't want to use a lot of product, but they definitely want to maximize results, right? So I suggest using skincare like this. This is City Beauty. It's a luxury skincare line that can be found on Amazon. It's anti-aging. So outside of firming, which is what we want our anti-aging products to do, right? It also does a lot of the stuff that makeup does. Like it lifts, blurs, it smooths, it sculpts. So if you don't want to use a lot of makeup, I suggest prepping the skin with products like these. So this is the lid lifting treatment. I have been in love with this. I'm just going to put a little bit on my eyelids. I have hooded eyes, and this has been really working to give me a little bit of a tug right on the outer corner of my eye. The next thing I'm going to do is go in with my Bobbie Brown face base. Now this is a moisturizer and a primer in one. Using this will help the makeup grip, as well as like hydrate the skin, plump it up, juice it up, add moisture. And this smells so good, like an orange. The next thing that we're going to do is work on our complexion. So I'm going to take my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Butterscotch, and I'm just going to put some right up underneath my eye. And I'm going to take some alongside the highest point of like the cheek, and you'll see why in a minute. The forehead, down the bridge of the nose, a little bit on the chin, a bit on the upper lip. And then we're going to go in with shade Warm Sand, and we're going to put this shade closer to the inner corner of the eye. This is how I've been liking to do my concealer because of the eye bag. Now with this particular concealer, I like for it to dry down as much as possible because it really helps you get more coverage when you use it in that way. I really like for my under eyes to be covered. I have just fallen in love with that look. If you have dark circles, I think that this concealer will work really good for you. It's not heavy, and it covers like a dream, especially when you allow it to dry down a little bit like what I'm doing right now. So while that's drying down, I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. This is my favorite brow pencil, and I'm just brushing the hairs upward, and I'm just going to like lightly fill the brows in. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect or so crisp or concealer and all of that. Just following the natural shape of how everything goes. And you see how I'm just like really kind of pressing feathering it out at the front of the brow. Pencil is just, I'm not telling it what to do. I'm letting the pencil guide me. Not forcing any shape. Somebody asked me like, so what do you do if you have no brows at all like this? You just follow your natural bone structure. Let the pencil guide you. If you mess up, just take a Q-tip and wipe it off. Again, this is everyday makeup. Quick, easy, and simple. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I am going to take a little bit of the MAC Studio Finish Concealer and clean up underneath my brows just a little bit, because it is going to give me a crisper look, as well as act as a bit of an eyeshadow base for the eye makeup. Taking a little bit on a concealer brush, wiping it in there and wiping it off at the same time. Taking my mirror, zooming in close, and I'm starting at the bottom and I'm gonna work my way up. You don't have to get it like super close, because you are gonna blend it out and it is gonna move up some anyway, but get it as close as possible. And I'm pulling the concealer outward. Chop off that end. If you need a full brow tutorial, I have that video on my channel, so check it out. But yeah, that's about it. So again, rubbing it in and rubbing it off at the same time, starting low, taking the tip, going close. Let me zoom you in. Going close. Firmer pressure. Light pressure. Light, light, light. Firm. And then you're going outward. Flick it like outward like that. Makeup artists, pro makeup artists use their hand. So it's not like an amateur thing or anything like that. It's a makeup thing. All right, let me zoom you out. Okay, now let's start blending our concealer out. We're gonna start on the chin and I'm just tapping it in. We're saving the inner corner and the eye for last. And because this is like everyday makeup, we're not like underpainting, but we're just like spot correcting. And I took the Too Light concealer, and I put that lower. This is where I want your eye to focus. Like if I had it here, then your eye will be focused pretty much like on the bag, you know, and I don't want that. So I put the Too Light concealer a little lower. And I found that this like really helped when it comes to the eye bag. So now let's go in with the Estee Lauder Double Wear, only because it's not much left in here. Let's finish it off. Now I'm just pouncing that into the skin. Okay, so now that the complexion is done, we're going to set it with a little bit of Fix Plus. This was the longest part of the routine, okay? I say all the time, get that complexion down pat. Go ahead and put the time into complexion, and then that way you can breeze through the rest of the makeup. Like if I wanted to, I could just put on a lash and a lip gloss after this and be done. Press that in because we're about to set now with powder, and just put on all of the powder, our blush, our bronzer. So we don't want any line. I know I'm looking pale, but that's what we're about to use the bronzer and stuff for, to warm the face up. So I'm going to take a powder puff. Now it's essential to use a powder puff, especially for underneath the eye. When you use a powder puff to like press, but I really can't explain it, but using a powder puff to press the makeup in, it really helps to set the makeup and lock it in, unmovable, it's undetectable, so that way you don't look like cakey and powdery, and the powder isn't like clinging to hair and sitting on top of the skin. It's actually like melted into the makeup and locks in the makeup. Now if you're doing the rest of the face, or if you're baking, you can use a sponge, but that initial lock in, go in with a powder puff and a finely milled powder. This one is the Laura Mercier translucent and honey, and I actually have a little tiny whisper of the Pat McGrath face powder in here too, just to give it a little bit more color. But yeah, you see how I'm like really pressing this powder in? That's what we need to do. Just like take your time and just really pressing it. And do this for wherever you really want to lock that makeup in. Okay, for me it's just underneath the eye. That's the only place that I really do this for. I'm using a sponge because like I said, this is bake, so this is going to be sitting right on top of the skin. And don't worry, I'm gonna go back in with some finishing spray, and it's not gonna look like powdery or be setting in lines or anything like that. Now I'm gonna take my face powder. This one is by Makeup Forever. It's the same same color as my complexion, my skin tone. And I'm just going to contour the nose with this. And I'm using this angled brush, which makes it so easy. I talked about this brush in like my nose contour video. Like, if you are a beginner in makeup and you trying to contour your nose, baby, you need this brush because you need the right tools. And I'm a professional, and I'm telling you that this brush makes it so easy. Okay, so now let's bronze up the face. I'm going to go in with my LYS bronzer and just do the temples with a big fluffy brush, just swirling. high points of the cheek. And this is just bringing back a little bit of warmth. Next, let's go in with the Juvias Place palette. This is the Warrior palette. One palette. You're going to just use one palette. Big fluffy brush and this light color here. Put a little bit underneath the highest point of the brow. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Blend it down with your finger. Melt it in. Inner corner. Now we're going to take my favorite brush. This is the Morphe V204. And we're going to go into this color right here. And we're just going to lay this down like all over the lid. Start by buffing inward. And I'm just sweeping it out a little bit. This is giving a little bit of a lift. Take some underneath. Same brush too, like. And again, depending on how much time you have and what your preference is, you could totally stop here. Like do your mascara, you know, dust the bake off, do your mascara, do your lips, and then you're done. So we got this all over the lid. Now let's take our Sigma E42 brush and go back into that color. Raise our brows and small circular motions. I don't know why I always start whispering when I'm saying don't do it hard. I just always start whispering. So small circular motion right on the outer eye bone. And because like you see when I raise my brow up, you see the color, and then when I rest it, you don't, because I have put it eye. So we're just going to continue to build that color up. We're going to keep it tight, going inward. Like that. And we're going to blow it out with another brush, like a fluffier brush. So now we got just a slight little light little lift. It's so subtle, like people are not going to even be able to tell. But do you see the difference? And this is just such light pressure. Oh my God. Like I'm barely touching. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my finger and take this shade here because it's sort of like brown. It's like dark brown almost. And I'm just going to pat that. And actually, I'm keeping it very close to the lower lash line. I mean, upper lash line, because I want more of a cat eye effect for this. So in order to do that, it has to ascend upwards. So we're going to keep like toward the inner corner of the eye, we're going to keep those shadows low. And then as we go toward the outside of the eye, those shadows are going to get higher and higher. So I am keeping this pretty low. I just intensify the color by wiping and packing, pushing, and pressing. Now let's go back in with that brush we used for the outer V, and let's just soften and blend these two colors together. And I'm just stamping whatever's on the brush. And I know a lot of people think that, oh, I'm of a particular age, I can't bake. It all depends. It depends on what technique are you using. It depends on what products are you using. Is the powder finely milled? What brush are you using? How long are you leaving the bake on? Are you doing anything after you bake? What are you doing after you bake? So technique matters a lot. Are you sweeping? Are you pressing? Like, what are you doing? And then what type of products are you using? Are you using a product that is not finely milled? Are you using a product that is expired? Are you using a product that's way too light for you? Are you using a product that's intended for something else? It's not, you shouldn't be baking with that. You know what I mean? So it all depends. Now let's take a little bit of MAC Studio MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, dusting this all over the face. And honestly, boo, sometimes it's just us. You know what I mean? We are talking ourselves and saying to ourselves in our head, "Oh, I'm too old for that," or whatever, whatever. And it's just like, it's not true. I have done women of all ages, and I have baked women of all ages. And like I say, it's just technique and like the product that you're actually using. You find that no product that you use is working for you as far as baking, I would say try a different technique. Try leaving it on for a shorter amount of time. Instead of applying the bake with like a sponge or something, try applying it with a brush. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with this NYX eyeliner, and this is like a peachy cream, pearlescent rose. And we're gonna put this in the waterline. And back with the Sigma E42, starting in the center, brushing a little bit of whatever on this brush through the lower lashes. Not pressing hard at all. And not using not doing this a lot. Like, we don't even want to see the color payoff. We want the color payoff to be so subtle that we barely can even see it. I'll deepen up the nose contour a little bit, just putting a darker shade right on the fat part of the nose. And then taking it across a little bit. I'm going to take my Black Opal True Color, and I'm just going to, this is the Damp Beauty Blender, and I'm just going to press a little bit of this underneath my eye. I usually do this after I set, the final set and all of that stuff like that, but I'm doing it now. This is such a pretty powder. Like, it really is. I don't think these come in many shades. I forgot what this one is. This one is light medium. Going in with more Juvia's Place, we're going to use this shade here as a blush. I'm actually going to use both shades. So the first shade, we're going to put a little bit on the apples. I don't want that to get too much underneath the eye. Then the second shade, we're going to go in with that one, and we're going to take that one up cheek. Okay, let's do a wing, because wings always just bring out the best in everybody, okay? Like, a wing is gonna set you off, boo, okay? It's gonna pull, it's gonna lift, it's going to give you a facelift without surgery, okay? Let's just take our eye marker. This is an LA Colors eye marker. It costs like $6 or something like that. I have a whole video about how to do a wing, and this is what I use. This is what I've been using. This is my go-to. We want our life to be easier, not harder. So this makes doing a wing really easy. Start on the outside and just flick upward, small strokes, not going in here, okay? We're gonna go at the end of the eyelash, the very last eyelash. We're kind of using that as a marker. So lift the brows so that the skin can be stretched, even if you have to pull it like that a little bit. Small strokes, going upward. Let the pen do all the work for you. Keep the line thin. And actually, if you wanted to, you could do just that. But we're gonna finish it. Keep the line thin. I'm like in the lash here. Okay, let's set one more time so that we can put our highlight on. Okay. This, my dear, is the finished look. It's not a lot of steps. It's not a lot of complicated colors or eye looks. Like, this isn't a cut crease or a halo. Like, you could do this. You put a wing on and a lash and our favorite lip gloss, and that was it, boo. Like, this is so beginner makeup, full face, friendly, easy, everyday. And what I love most about this look is that it definitely does transition from day to night, right? You could wear this look to work or whatever you're doing during the day, and then transition this same exact look to night just by changing the lip. Dress the lip up, put a bolder lip on, a nice orange or a nice bright pink, or a red lip would look really sexy, and you have just went from day to night. This look is fresh. This look is easy. All you really need is, your brushes, your different brushes, so that you can blend the shadows out. But yeah, we basically used one palette. We worked on the complexion. We did the complexion really pretty and did minimal with the eyes. We played it up really with that liner and that lash. Like, when you throw that cat eye on and a lash, that really jazzes up an eye right there. So if you need a tutorial on how to do the cat eye, check my channel. I hope that you don't feel like this was too many steps or too many products. Whenever I sit down here, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna come up with. Sign up for my free VIP beauty community, all about beauty, makeup, skincare, fashion. You will receive content just like this straight to your inbox for absolutely nothing, girl. It is free. Your own personal beauty guide for free. You can't go wrong. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll be sure to see you on the next one. Mwah!
I've been losing friends and finding peace. Honestly, that sound like a fair.